Right, everybody, I had to make, sorry, another one of these, because while I was I made this a bit smaller, because I thought it looked a bit thick, and I thought, I've done it all, and I went to run it through my fingers and ripped the end off. So I had to make another one. So, same process as the last time. Well, actually, it's a bit of a lie. I used this as a template, because I didn't want to take all the cloth off the gun mount. So anyway, I've done that. I'm now going to put the spacing of the bolts on this before I stick onto here. I might put it on with double-sided tape again, actually. And then I'm going to use these little teeny, well, hopefully I'm going to use these little teeny 6x6 hex bolts as the bolts go on the top. And then there's Mr. Meng's nuts. All right. And hopefully there's some matching ones to put on. So I'm going to put Mr. Meng's nuts on first. And then where the gaps are, I'm going to drill out. Right. The madness commences. I'm now taking Mr. Meng's nuts. These are really good. Get them if you're a model maker, because they're really, really handy. I hope he never stops making them. So you take them off by basically using a sharp blade, scalpel blade, and going really close and just scraping them off, really. And then here's some. And then I'm going to put it along from the template I already drew to work out the spacings onto there, before I install it onto there, because I think it's easier to do it on here. And I'm going to use these, and I might actually do all of Mr. Meng's nuts, and then take the ones off I don't need. I don't know, I'll have to have a think. Alright, and I've just used some masking to hold it down while I put these on. So, just like that, if you can see. And I'm using a template because it just means all the same distance. Alright, and just a bit of glue on there with a bit of brass to put the glue dots down. And yeah, and then hopefully I'll just keep going around. And like I said, I think I'll put these all on, and then I'm going to drill through one of the nuts and then use that as a space to put it through the tank. Wish me luck. There we go. Like that. I think they're two out. Anyway. Right, so what I'm doing now is removing the bolts that I put on, and then drilling a little teeny 0.5mm hole that will fit the shaft of one of these. Then what I'm going to do is stick this movie double-sided tape along the top, drill through the guide holes I have, and apply the bolts, but also stick it down with double-sided tape. We're nearly there. It should work, I think. Hi everybody, well, if you can see, let me just zoom in. I've drilled out the little holes for the brass screws, and I'm going to now stick this down onto the top and then put the screws in. I'm just cogitating about whether to stick it down with double-sided tape or super glue it onto the canvas. Oh, and I just literally drilled out straight, I flattened off the bolts, then drilled straight down the middle of one of the bolts, and that gives me the position of the hole for putting the real bolt in. If you try and drill all these holes out without doing that, I think it's much harder. Right, I've gone for double-sided tape. I'm sticking it on, and then I'm cutting it to shape, and it should have a double-sided tape backing at the back. Then we're going to do that. It just gives you more chance to move it about. With the bolts in, it should be fine. As you can see, that's the double-sided tape onto it. I'm going to attach it in a sec. So I just push this down onto it. Oh, wish me luck. Right, everybody. So that's it attached with double-sided tape. I'm glad I did that because it took a bit of fettling to get it in the right place. You might be able to see some of the double-sided tape, but I should be able to get rid of that. I'll try my best anyway. So yeah, and if you can see, that's where the actual little brass bolts are going to go in those corners. And this means it gets held down. So double-sided tape, which is eminently removable, but it holds. And it should hold with the bolts. Yeah, so I'm nearly there. I'm going to call it quits tonight, and I'll try and get a bit more done tomorrow, and then I'll get this video out by the end of the week, and also the unboxing. So look, hopefully this will come in handy. I'll crack on and finish it off. Right, this is putting the little brass bolts in that match the 1mm heads on the Meng's nuts. You have to use a special little tool from the miniature, I can't remember what it's called now, but I'll put it in the link. So this should hold it down, and then the double-sided tape should do the rest. So hopefully I've done this right. Right, so that top section is held on with double-sided tape, which is doing the job, and some real little brass bolts. yeah, so sort of happy with that. It's just about right. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than anything. And it's these little bolts, X10 hex bolts. Oh, I'm going to call it quits there for tonight, and I'll get back to this tomorrow. And in case I forgot to tell in the last video, what I do is I put all the bolts on, then I sand one of them flat a bit so it's not, so you can get a bit of bite into it, and then I eye up the middle of the bolt. So the dead middle of the bolt, then I use an 0.5 drill, which is the same diameter as the shanks of the bolts, and then I drill it straight through the middle, hopefully. I haven't messed it up yet. I've still got to do the bottom there. And here they are affixed to the double-sided tape, and then I'm just going to cut them out from the other side, peel the back off, and then position them onto the tank, and then screw them, drill the holes for the little nuts, bolts, and then that side should be done. And I've just got to do the bottom when some more bolts and stuff turn up. Oh, this has been a bit of a tour de force. And if you can see, there it is. All right. So you just cut them out. You know, you just cut along. You know what to do. You just cut along the shape of the thing, and it gives you that. I won't film that because it just boils to death. But yeah, so you just cut around the shape. Okay, and that's them both taped up. If you do have some issue with a little bit of tape on sticking out one side, it doesn't matter. You can scrape it off. It comes off pretty easy. Right, so there's this side put on with the double-sided tape. You've got to really make sure you want it to be where it is, because once you've drilled the little holes for the bolts, it's not going anywhere. Let me just zoom out a minute. Sorry. You see? I think that looks about right. That looks level to me. I was going to try and show you how to do it on this side. It's a bit easier. That side's quite hard to see. It's quite thin, that side, but it's that. You can see. And that should work. And then the bottom, then the bottom part runs across basically where you can see the bottom white extension to the turret that I've done. I might need to chop that a little bit thinner at the bottom now, but we'll see. All right, let's crack on to the second side and I'll try and film it. Okay, so what I would do is meet the top first. So peel the, don't take the whole thing off. Got your fingernails. Come on. So take a bit of the tape off, put it to one side, and then match it up at the top with the other band as well as you can. I think that's pretty good. And then try and get it so it's as level as you can, because you need it meeting at the bottom to, the strip's a bit thick, but be that. Then that's the whole attachment points done. Okay. Oh my god. So I might lift that and bring that in a bit, but you see the double-sided tape is really useful. It holds it down for you while you're fiddling with it, but that's kind of how you do it. Then basically what you do is the pre-drilled holes you just drill through, and then you secure it with little brass bolts, and then you can remove it, because this is just stuck underneath here to the double-sided. So the canvas gun cover is stuck to the double-sided tape. The attachment point is stuck to the canvas gun cover with double-sided tape, and then the bolts are the semi-permanent fixture. But if you need to get it off, you can just pull it off the tape, and it does come off the tape. And if you needed to, you can heat it up a bit, but you can remove the bolts, the whole thing will come off. But I know because of the bolts, I know because of the bolts, it's not gonna fall off when I'm using the tank and cause problems when I'm weathering it and everything else. So look, let me do that, and then I'll show you it all done. So like I say again, then you would just drill through this little hole into the tank and then place the bolt in. But when you get these bolts, it's best to buy one of these, which is basically the spanner for the little bolts. I've run out of bolts, so I'm going to put 2 and 2 in, leave those, and when I get my new ones, because I'm going to have to put a few more along the bottom here. Wow, because also this bottom bit, if you want to take the bottom of the turret off, you've got to be able to remove these bolts, because otherwise you can't take the bottom of the turret off, if that makes sense. You're stuffed, basically. Anyway, right, let's finish this. Right, now we're just making the lower strip. So same process. I've marked up where the bolts go on the template, and I'm going to let them dry, cut this to length, and then sand down the ones I need to drill through. Stick it double-sided onto the tank, and then drill through the holes for the real bolts into the tank. And it should end up looking a bit like that. Let's get this done. There we go. So they're all on. And I've now got this template forever. So if I need to do this again, well, it should be simple enough. I just cut the plastic out and then to the shape of both of these things, and well, I'm done. Right, everybody. So that's a lower strip placed on. It's just below the bottom of the turret. It's very close. I might have done it a little bit too close. I think it might have been up just a smidge from there. So I'm getting. So now all I've got to do, but I think that's too shabby.
Can you see it's really close to the bottom of the turret, the attachment strip, but I'm not sure I've gone a bit too close. Let me know in the comments what you all think.
I think that looks pretty much. I think it's better than the rubber Tamiya thing. And this should work on Tamiya. If you do this on the HAYA without doing the turret bottom, you've got to make sure that the spacings on these are much closer, because if you can see, this would come past there. All right, but I think that works all right. What I've got to do now is this, so I'm just going to do that and show you how to do a final video on how to make the circle. Stick that on, and then that's kind of done. If this is still bugging me, this is maybe a little teeny bit too low. I don't think it is, but if it is, I can always change it, because like I say, I can take this off because of the real little bolts. All right, let me show you the last little bit, and then we'll put this up. Wow, it's been a bit of a thing, this. Right, what you do is you take a piece of rod, not tubes, it won't be thick enough. Yeah, I've just got to measure this bit to make sure of the size. Then I can turn this down. You drill a hole up the middle of that diameter. So you get your bit of solid rod. You work out where the middle of the rod is. Then you drill a hole straight down the middle, and then opening up to the size of the hole there. And then I might need to turn it down ever so slightly. I use a big drill and a file, and then you just cut it off and then sand it flat. And hopefully that's right. Oh, and go up the drill sizes slowly. Don't try and do it with one big one. It just won't work. Unless you have a lathe, then you can turn this much easier. So I'm going with this. Aiming to get the inner wall now to all the thickness that you want. Rather than, you could slot a few tubes together, really glue it, and then file it all flat, which would also work. But I had this, so I'm doing it this way. Then you shove your circle that goes on there. I've got to sand it down, obviously, to make it thinner. But then you have that. I was doing it on camera, so I might do it again, try and cut a smaller one. There we go, I've cut a thinner one. But the other one's still fine, just sand it down. So that big file is far too coarse, so just using nail file. See, it's getting thinner. And then I've placed it on the tank. I outlined the circle from inside with some white closed marker pencil. You know, the stuff I used at the beginning of the... So I marked that out and then placed that, making sure that the circle was equidistant all the way around, so it's in the right place for the hole. Stuck it on with some slow set super glue. I didn't use double-sided tape. And then I put the two little bolt details on. And then that's it. And I don't think that's too shabby. I think that looks all right. I'm still not sure about the bottom. But for my reference, it's not that far off. If anything, it'll be like half a millimetre or 1 millimetre, and I'm not going to bother with that. Look, everybody, sorry this has been such a faff. Let me put the gun barrel on and I'll show you it all with the gun barrel on. And there we go. So look, if you want to do that, you're nuts. But remember, this is completely removable. It's only stuck down with double-sided tape and secured in place with real little bolts. I'll put the link for those bolts in the description. Like I say, the bottom bit bugs me for some reason. I don't know why. But if I need to, I can move that up. Because it comes off. It doesn't matter. And if it's got to go up a bit, it doesn't matter about the fabric because there'll be some more underneath it, won't there? Look, everybody. Oof. Have a lovely week. I will see you soon. Hope you're enjoying the Gepard video. I'll show you the functions on that soon. It's all working now. So it's sitting here waiting to be tried out again. And I'll do it, I promise. And then, I don't know what to do with it. I've got tanks everywhere. I've literally got to, I don't know what to do. And then I've got to start on a little Crusader, don't I? And put those hinges on that one, too. Right, look. TTFN, I've got a gig tonight. I just want to watch the telly. And I will see you very soon. Oh, and if you like this, and you got this far, and you haven't died, if you'd like to like it and subscribe, that would be fabulous. It really helps out the channel. And as they'll say, it's for free. And it is for free. And you get to watch... Oh, actually, no, God, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.